Hello, I'm Vinzer Flynn, and welcome back to the Book of Flynn. Today, Raina and I are talking about the Season 1 finale of Buffy, Episode 12, Prophecy Girl. And after that, 2 more episodes of the Clone Wars as we wind down Season 1. And that'll be episodes 19 and 20, Storm over Ryloth and Innocence of Ryloth. Join us in the Crew Lounge. Buffy Episode 12, the season finale of Season 1, titled Prophecy Girl. And now the podcast you listen to makes more sense to me.
Yep.
Prophecy Girls. So they do a little recap at the start of this, sort of a season review, to remind us that the Master is still stuck in his underground vampire bachelor pad with the creepy demon boy, and that there's Angel's romantic interest in Buffy, and that the Codex is now an item in play. We start at the Bronze, which is apparently the center of the goddamn universe in Buffyland, and Xander's practicing his pickup lines for Buffy, but on Willow. Badly, I might add. And he's getting himself psyched up.
He is, unfortunately, me practicing every conversation ever. Except I do this to myself. I don't do this to other people.
There's not a guy in high school, at least in my time, that wasn't Xander in that moment psyching themselves up to get completely shot down. But poor Willow, she loves him, and he's clueless as all men are, and she's just very patiently enduring it.
And she's like, oh, you can practice on me some more. And it's like, no, sweetie, you deserve somebody who's saying that to you, not using you as a proxy.
We cut over to some random field where Buffy gets flung onto scene. Definitely, our stunt person did her job there. That was a hard fall when she came into shot.
Yeah, she fell on her back.
Yeah, it looked painful.
Yep.
I would have been like, give me a minute.
Well, she's lucky she wasn't impaled. Where did she pull the stake from?
That's right. She had her stake like up her back and her jacket or something. That's like falling on your keys. I fell on my stake. Give me a second, man.
Can you imagine going back to your watcher the next day and be like, I staked myself again?
So nearby, Cordelia's making out with I don't remember. Is this the same boyfriend as before?
Yeah, it's Mitch or something.
Mitch or Steve or
his name is Mitch.
Or Frank or some shit. Anyway,
let's call him Frank. It's funnier that way.
Buffy's fighting this vampire, and she kicks him in the head twice and stakes him and says that's the third one she's killed that night. Busy night. Over at the library, Giles has found what he's looking for about the Slayer and the Master, but it looks like bad news. So, I mean, it doesn't take a big stretch for me to guess at this point that, okay, he's found this prophecy in the Codex. Buffy's definitely going to die because of a prophecy. Absolutely. A tremor starts up. Earthquake rocks Sunnydale.
I've never experienced an earthquake before. Have you?
I've never experienced an earthquake, but I was playing Star Wars Galaxies years ago with someone who was playing in Japan, and they suffered a tremor while we were doing like a heroic raid, and they were doing something. But the power or nothing went out. She played through the earthquake.
Oh my gosh!
And did not lose connection. Like apparently, it wasn't the first time. It just it was like a minor tremor. But yeah, we had a player play through an earthquake, and we won.
Nice. Hang on, just gotta steady the old computer here so it doesn't topple over during an earthquake.
And she started typing in the chat like, "Oh my god, I think there's an earthquake happening." We're like, what do we do? Log off? I don't know. And she's like, no, I'll just keep going. Anyway, the tremor cracks up. The library actually structurally cracks it open a bit.
Yeah.
Side note, speaking of the school, because we spend a lot of time in it in this episode, I'm amazed we didn't see Principal Quark going around.
Yeah, he was
no sign of him.
He was strangely absent in this episode.
And like I said, we're going to get to it, but a lot happens both in and to the school in this episode, which is why I'm surprised we didn't see him.
Stay, I just have a question. Why is the school even open? Like, the floor is cracked open.
I thought you meant in a more general sense, like why is the doors never locked? Because people are in there at all hours of the night.
Also
That
that,
too.
yes, but like why is the school even operational that they're like, business is normal, just, mind yourself over the structural damage that's across this entire floor.
Just step over the chasms, you'll be fine. That took place at night, so it's the next day. Giles looks like he's been up all night. He looks hurting.
Yeah,
He looks like he's been all night.
on a bender. He looks in rough shape.
He's very distracted. He doesn't care at all that Buffy broke a nail.
Nope.
I like that we kind of get a little reminder that, I mean, it's supposed to be the ridiculous contrast of a blonde named Buffy killing vampires. So it's kind of fun once in a while that, the stereotypical 80s blonde, oh, I broke a nail, but then she goes out and kills vampires.
Right? And she's like,
that's the whole thing.
She's just like, the travesty of her having a broken nail is like, you could pretend to care about her nail. Like,
They say how the vampire numbers are increasing and they're getting cockier, they're getting more brazen, so we're definitely building something. Outside at school, Xander finally works up the guts to ask Buffy out, but then it makes a very bad impression. He tells some poor freshman, leave. Like, you jerk.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you, man.
Buffy does a really good job of letting him down easily here. She's very direct. She's very to the point, and she's trying not to hurt him. She's like, ew, no. It's like, she's like, I'm sorry, but no, I don't feel that way. And she's being honest, and he's like, oh, well, that's typical. Like, making her feel bad about it. Like, yes, I get that you're bummed out, but
I was expecting him to turn on her there, because most guys that age, when you get rejected, they get nasty and they get stupid. But yeah. He just sort of slinked off. He's upset.
Yeah.
At the library, Giles is on the phone setting up a meeting with somebody after dark. Correctly guessed that's going to be Mr. Angel. Miss Calendar's here.
Yeah.
In this opening scene, she's actually sitting with an actual calendar in the background. It's June 1997, apparently.
Yeah.
It's like, just in case you forgot her name, here's a oh, Miss Calendar, right? That, yeah. Tell me that wasn't on purpose.
Just to remind us who she was. He has a good luck charm above his door. It's the same one that we had until it fell down. It's the horseshoe.
Oh, yeah.
He has a horseshoe above his office door. And he also has some really weird stuff on his corkboard. Did you get to look at any of that?
I cast a quick glance. I saw some photos and stuff. What were the details?
There was like
board,
something titled Healing Formula, and then there was some sort of article judging by the clip art that was with it. Was like about yoga or Pilates. There was a close-up of a man smoking a pipe, but he had like 1,000-yard stare, and I had no idea who he was.
Oh, you didn't see written on that as like weed dealer call.
Right? And Leonardo Internet, which seems like a weird article to have for somebody who is allergic to computers. And then something about the pyramids of Giza. Like, it just was very all over the place. It's like they took a bunch of random titles and just threw them on things and stuck them up there.
That's one thing I noticed. Sometimes I can't help but compare this show to Supernatural, and the library at least has this sort of organized mess where Giles has got books and tomes and stuff. And I know the Winchesters worked on laptops and stuff, but I was like, the bunker that they lived in was really clean. There was never newspaper. It was unnaturally clean, especially for two bachelors essentially living in a hole in the ground.
Pretty much. Like, who cleaned up after themselves? It wasn't these two.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, Giles is the library is more. There's papers and things, or at least they're looking at stuff, not just the laptop all the time. So Miss Calendar, she talks about some more unusual occult shit that's happening, some smaller stuff. This is what reminded me of the Winchesters too. I was expecting them to show up. Oh, we heard about this weird shit. We better go check it out. They reference a brother Luca who's sending out warnings about a prophecy, and I expect we're going to learn more about that guy. Maybe not. I don't know. Made a note of it anyway. Cordelia is making plans for her homecoming May Queen shit, which I'm surprised. I thought that part would be over, but no, we're folding the May Queen shit into double episodes here. He asks Willow for a favor. There's no scar on Cordelia's face. I was half expecting, because she got cut in the face last time. I was like expecting to see that, but didn't see it.
I wouldn't try to logic out the timelines too much. They definitely Hollywood a lot of timelines in the show. It's a
Oh
consistent
yeah,
thing for sure.
I assume, but I love to look for those little details
Yeah.
just in case somebody remembered something.
I like I like this couple. I like Frank and Cordelia together. Um, I think that they're actually a pretty cute couple. They bring out good things in each other because, she talks about how he's so sweet and he's usually not super nice. And judging from in the past, he always seems kind of like one of those stereotypical jocks that'll pick on the lower ones and stuff. But he, I don't know, she seems to bring out niceness in him, which I like that.
Well, hold that thought.
Right? And then Willow agrees to help Cordelia after she tries to compliment her outfit, and I use that with quotations because she's like, "I love your outfit." And Willow's like, "You don't?" She's like, "Yeah, you're right, I don't." Anyways, can you get up super early on like probably a Saturday morning and come help me? What?
Willow checks on Xander, who's throwing a ball against the wall. He's all upset, and then he decides, great idea, let's you and me go, Willow. But thank God, Willow, she fucking calls him on his shit. She says, I'm not gonna be your second fiddle. She stands up for herself. So that was that before, when it looked like she was eating shit over it. Now she stood up for herself, and I was like, yeah, good.
Yeah, I was happy for her in this moment.
Buffy is casually walking around with a steak in the locker room. It's like she didn't care who saw it. It's like, I guess I'm just the weird girl. No one
I
cares.
made the same note. Like, here she is. Oh, there goes Buffy wandering around the changing rooms with a steak again. What?
And the sink starts pouring out blood, which is one of these weird occulty things that's apparently happening everywhere as the energies of evil coalesce. In the library, Giles and Angel are chatting, and I did a typo. I typed Buddy instead of Buffy. Buddy the Vampire Slayer. How's she going by?
She gonna be your friend.
I fucking staked fucking Vampire up by Tim Hortons. Ran him over with my Trans Am. I'm getting off track. Okay, so Giles and Angel are chatting, and Buffy slips in to eavesdrop a little, and apparently everything in the Codex comes true. Buffy will face the Master and die. And you know what? Her reaction to this, finding it out, was pretty raw and authentic. I found she's like, I fucking quit. Like, she's throwing books at Giles. She just doesn't want to do it, man. Like, she says, I'm 16. Like, why do I have to be dealing with this shit? And it's feeling that, like, it wasn't like, so, oh, I'll be a hero, it's okay. But she was afraid, and it was a powerful reaction. Good scene.
Yeah, Sarah Michelle Gellar is absolutely heartbreaking in this scene. She did a really good job. I wouldn't be surprised if this was like one of the scenes that they had to read for this part, because this is such a big moment for sure.
Yeah, her eyes like well up.
Yeah.
Felt that shit.
Oh yeah.
Xander is literally listening to country music at his house. He's got the phone right next to him so that when it rings, he can put it off the hook.
A rotary phone at that. Like, he doesn't even have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that. I actually missed those phones. I loved those phones since I figured out how they worked.
That's a pretty big holdover from the 80s. Like, a rotary phone was pretty, for 97? Yeah, pretty rare.
Yeah, which I mean goes to show, if you think about it, how well off is Xander's family that they're still using a rotary phone. They can't afford a touch tone, dial tone type of phone, right?
Not one of those fucking flat ones with the touch tone we all had from Alliant or some shit.
The VTech ones that were popular in like the early 2000s that were see-through and colorful. And do you remember those? They were like cordless phones that were transparent, like blue or purple or something, and you could see all the technology. Those was really big back then. A lot of transparent stuff.
Transparent tech comes up on the Gen X nostalgia subreddits all the time.
Yeah.
The 90s were crazy for their transparent tech.
I remember using that phone on my inflatable furniture while I was downloading something from Napster. Boom.
Oof. That is 90s as hell. The inflatable furniture, nice touch.
I had the ones with the styrofoam, the pillows with the styrofoam beads. And then when you'd let the static build up so they'd stick to the sides, you could like run your hands over it and like the static would fall away in certain parts and you could like spell out a message. We had feather ones. I had green inflatable furniture. a chair with an ottoman, and I had two cats at the time. I'd just like to point that out.
Given the amount of drinking my friends and I were doing in '97 and thereabouts, it's no wonder nobody bothered to get an inflatable chair because it wouldn't last a day.
I made make mine last for a long while. That was a big part of my furniture in the room. Somehow the cats never bothered with it. I think I had like one hole in it before I finally decided to take it down and not use it anymore. Anyway, sidetracked. 90s nostalgia.
Nah, that's what this is a Gen X podcast. This is what we're supposed to do. At Buffy's house, she tries to get her mom to just leave town. She's like, let's just fucking get out of here. And her mom got her a nice dress, and now Buffy needs a date.
There's a picture frame behind, because, you know, I like to look at these little details, because I've seen this show an exuberant amount of time, especially this episode, so many times that now I'm like, I need to look at the background stuff in order to like find new things. And there's a really adorable, it's like a black and white, what looks like Joyce's high school photo in one of the frames. It was really cute.
Back at school, Cordelia goes to the AV room to scold her nice boyfriend, Frank or Mitch or Bob or Tad or whatever his name is. But there's like 6 dead students in the room, like preset the counter, Principal Quark.
Yeah. Yeah.
This was like didn't feel lighthearted like some of the previous. This was like a fucking murder scene. You know, like it was pretty brutal.
Yeah, Willow later says like they had fun, and it definitely showed in that room.
Willow is genuinely traumatized by what she saw, which is again like Buffy's reaction earlier. They were refreshingly authentic reactions that fuck you up.
I found that this season in particular, and Buffy, I want to say kind of in general, didn't fall into that category where all of the high school students were like philosophers. Like some of the shows at the time, like Dawson's Creek, I don't know, other teenage shows, Roswell. It's like the teenagers were, yeah, right, deep cut. The teenagers were all too old. They were too introspective, too insightful, too grown up. And I don't find that Buffy's teenagers, especially in this episode, in this season, they don't play into that. Like they let them be teenagers.
In the 90s, I would literally climb out windows to avoid responsibility. I couldn't imagine, having to fulfill a prophecy with my life. Like, fuck that, see ya. Rollerblade away.
Right? Like, I would have just skipped town. I wouldn't have went home to go look at things. I'd have been like, well, peace out, A-Town down. I just left.
Ironically, if Buffy had left town, the Master would have been trapped indefinitely. If she had moved to Canada or something, she would have won. Game over.
Right? Like her idea, her instinct, was that her instinct for survival, or was that the Slayer instinct going, nay, nay, you can just leave and then everything will be fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't really realize it as I was watching, but by the time I got to the end, I was like, if she just left town.
So remember that, not for any time recent. This is going to be a long time callback, but just remember that. Because it comes up again in a really roundabout way in a couple of seasons.
Okay.
Just it gets referenced, and it's like, now it offers more questions. So
Buffy makes Willow promise to stay in that night. Willow says she likes her dress. She's doing the whole leather jacket formal dress thing. That's a special level of badass.
That is a callback to the movie.
Yeah, it looked familiar. It felt familiar.
Yeah.
I did see the movie, and I think I might have seen it in theaters, but yeah, I don't think I've seen it in 30 years.
You watched it with me on our movie list when we started the D20 movie list. It came up.
Oh, that's right.
We did, because we remember we were watching a lot of Pee Wee Herman dying for like 20 minutes of that movie. Honestly, he made that movie. It was so good.
In this scene, Buffy assumes she's saying goodbye to Willow. She's like starting to accept her fate at this point.
It
felt like a goodbye.
This is big for her. I get that she's like, okay, now I've got to protect my friend. This is different. But Buffy literally could have just been like, well, see ya, and just left still. But she is a true hero.
As we knew she would be.
Yeah.
At the vampire cathedral, the barrier is weakening. At the library, Ms. Calendar is sort of brought into the fold. She's brought up to speed about the Slayer and the vampires and all that. The mysterious brother Luca has gone silent, but he sends out one last message, a biblical passage that suggests the anointed isn't who they thought, so that changes everything for them. And Giles decides he's going to go fucking bite the master himself, which he would have been dead in 2 seconds. He has a little face-off with Buffy about it.
Yeah.
And she fucking punches him out cold, which was a great. Didn't see it coming.
This is the first time that Giles acts like a parent to her rather than the Watcher Slayer thing. He's just like, well, just listen to what I say and do what you're told. Like, just because I said so. It was such a parent moment. And it was just kind of the first glimmer that you see of like the relationship that they're gonna have, because he just kind of was like, just do what you're told, like that's it, like go to your room kind of thing. And she's like, yeah, and then knocks him out and is like, say something, make up something cool, and just
tell him I said it.
Yeah, lady of witty banter doesn't even bother to try to make up something witty before leaving. She's having a rough day though, I'll give her a pass.
This is true. She goes outside, carrying a fucking crossbow, and creepy demon kid. There's never anyone around to see this shit. The creepy demon kid takes Buffy by the hand.
Thinking this would be a really good place for those stoners sitting on the bench in the background, just watching all of this stuff go down, and they're like, "Whoa, do you see that little girl like walking off with the do you see that little boy like leading this girl away? Like, what is going on here?" But also, she didn't have good track record with that crossbow. I'm not sure why that's her go-to weapon right now.
Yeah. At the library, Xander, Willow, Ms. Calendar. How come she's in the club? And Giles. Giles is icing his face. Buffy's wandering around the extensive sewer system of Sunnydale with the demon boy. In a surprise move, Xander goes to Angel's place to kind of do a little unexpected team up.
Question: how does he know where Angel lives?
Yeah, how did he know that? He's probably following Buffy.
Probably. Fuck, you're probably right.
He was prepared, though. He had a cross on him, and he fucking pulls that out. Miss Calendar asks, very pertinent question, is where physically is the Hellmouth going to open? And I was like, yeah, I've kind of wondering that ever since I first heard of it. Where's that going to happen?
Not gonna lie, the first time I watched this, I just assumed the bronze, because everything is the bronze.
And that's the funny thing. That's the very next note in my thing here is it's got to be the bronze, because apparently it's the center of the fucking universe. But nope, don't worry. There's plenty of Ed dead right outside the school.
Yeah.
This episode just continues to serve the unexpected things, because Cordelia fucking pulls up like fucking the Terminator. Come with me if you want to live. Didn't expect that shit. And then she drives her car through the door and in the hallway, like fucking destroys it.
Can you imagine if Snyder was in the school at this moment?
What a missed opportunity. Just him changing the days since a workplace accident sign or student massacre.
Just
0 days.
Sadly looks down because he's waiting for like midnight to roll around. He's like, we can go one day at midnight. And then it's like crashes through and he's like, 0 again, start again tomorrow.
The vampires chase them and they barricade themselves in. And I guarantee you those fucking portal swinging saloon doors in the library aren't stopping any vampires. I don't care how many Lexmark printers in the 90s you pile in front of it.
Oh, such a specific throwback.
We used to call them the fridge. The big printers.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
The fridge. No. So a tentacle creeps up through one of the cracks and no one notices it. And I'm like, tentacle? Does anyone else see that? Like, what the fuck? What's going on? Down in the vampire cathedral, creepy kid leads Buffy to the entrance, which is kind of the way the entrance looked there, the way the brickwork and the ruins, it was actually, the way she's standing in it was rather iconic, actually. She's got the outfit and the crossbow and then this sort of circular portal of bricks in the cathedral. Anyway, it looked really good. Buffy and the Master finally meet, and the bantering begins, and the Master actually calls out the bantering. Very fourth wallish. I thought that was pretty cool.
They did technically meet in nightmares. Her dreams made it possible. They do still remember that.
Okay, right.
Yep.
I did enjoy that during the bantering, she shoots mid-sentence. And he catches it, so it was a couple good quick back and forths there. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Angel and Xander are on their way, and they're arguing about, you were looking at my neck. I was not. Like, this is the weirdest team up. So the Master, like, glamours or hypnotizes Buffy, and she seems overmatched. And this is where he reveals that her coming there has fulfilled the prophecy, which means that he will now be freed. So then she realizes her big mistake, and she's like, yeah, I could be halfway to fucking Canada by now with my mom, and this asshole would not be getting out.
So therefore, this episode is all Angel's fault for getting that book. The end.
End of season 1.
Sorry.
But so the Master actually bites her, which I was kind of surprised by, and she drops face first into the water again. Very hard hitting visuals. Like, that was like, oh man, I fucking killed her, and he can get out now. So he gets out. As Angel and Xander arrive, and they pull Buffy out and says she's dead. But I was like, she's gonna fake die. Of course, she's gonna fake die. The prophecy. But what killed me in this is Angel's like, I can't give CPR. I have no breath.
He's like breathing hard, and like he's like, I can't breathe. Like,
you need wind to talk, right? Like, come on.
You're just because actually the air you are breathing out of your lungs, because you're forcing your diaphragm to blow the air out, is still oxygen rich. So it's actually the smartest thing. Move the carbon dioxide maker away and just let Angel deal with it.
Right? I'd be like, you're basically a fleshy organic bellows. Get breathing.
That's what he should do. He should be a paramedic.
He only works at night. I'll do the night shift. No problem.
He's the back shift oxygen meter.
I know Angel gets a spin-off show. Is that the premise? He's a night paramedic?
Yes.
Don't tell me. Okay, thanks. Buffy revives. They bring her back. Well, there's your prophecy, Death. We're all set now. It's fucking game on now. Anything goes. And Buffy she levels up somehow. It's like her Slayer powers of next leveled. She's just ready to do the job now.
She's very in tune with the Slayer side of her, which I think is really cool, that she just kind of comes back and flips into that. I do find the music sequence and her like cockiness with the music, I always find that small scene, a lot of people find it powerful, but I find it a little bit cringy. It's just very 90s. It's like the one part of the episode that didn't age super well when it came to just how it was shot.
Yeah, I see what they were going for, and they've done this in other episodes too. They tried to be, I mean, in the 90s, it was fun and cool then, but yeah, it aged out very quickly. It did something cringy, and I totally agree with you.
Yeah,
it was cool but cringy at the same time.
And I am happy to say that is the cringiest shot scene of the series. I have to be careful about my wording there.
No more slow-mo theme song, walking in formation shots towards the camera. No more Armageddon shots.
Not that I'm aware of. The theme music, the theme song by Nerf Herder does not play over. That's like the only time that it actually plays over a scene versus the credits.
Wait a minute. The song is done by a band called Nerf Herder?
Yes.
Do you know what Nerf Herder's from?
No.
It's a Star Wars thing.
Yes, we've connected it.
This is it, man. This is my thesis. This is my closing arguments. So yeah, a nerf herder is a nerf is like it's like a cow, or it's what they use for meat, right? But in Empire Strikes Back, Leia says to Han, "Why you stuck up, half-witted, scruffy-looking nerf herder?"
That is cool.
That's yeah. There you go.
All right, we've just connected these universes, people. The show is officially written in the stars, meant to happen.
That's right. So if you're questioning why we've combined two weird fucking shows the way we have, this is it.
Just means that we had to dig deep to find a connection.
There's always a Star Wars connection. I mean, well, Star Trek connection. Fucking Principal Quarks in this show.
Right? They make a lot of there's a lot of pop culture references, especially to comic book stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do enjoy that, the pop culture references. Helps you learn about things, especially as a 10-year-old watching the show.
At the school, Buffy, Angel, and Xander arrive, and she seems very calm and confident. Like I said, I think she's leveled up. Cordelia bites a vampire's arm as he reaches through the hole. And that was a hell of a turnaround. Did not expect that one. When she say something, how do you like it?
Yeah.
The tentacle is finally noticed, and apparently the Hellmouth's opening right here, folks.
Yep, found it.
There it is.
That is.
Oh, the Hellmouth. Yeah, it's over there by the encyclopedias. The Master is on the roof, and he's clapping and congratulating himself. I thought he was just on some guy's fucking apartment building, but I guess he's on the school, which makes sense.
I finally get to see the season finale of the show. He's just like watching like Friends or something through the television behind somebody.
Some janitor's up there. Hey, you can't be up here, buddy. I'm the Master. Yeah, sure. I work at the school. I see weird shit all the time. Have we ever actually seen a janitor at this school? Or they all quit? Boiler room's always empty.
We definitely don't see any this season.
That's got to be a big turnaround job. I mean, I'd
Yeah,
fucking be
probably.
like six dead guys in the AV room. I fucking quit. I'm not cleaning that up. Coroner won't even come to the school anymore.
Are you kidding? If the janitorial staff aren't the ones being eaten. Buffy has probably my favorite line in this episode is in this season. Is in the scene.
I think I know what it is.
Yep, absolutely. Continue.
I may be dead, but I'm still pretty.
No, actually, it's
No?
you have fruit punch mouth.
I was getting to that one because that. Oh my god,
Killed me every time.
that is so good. That is such a Gen X thing. Like there was kids that always came back from lunch with fucking freshy Kool-Aid, fruit punch mustaches. That killed me, man. That was like a fucking burn.
Because it's true, you don't really think about it, but his mouth is all like pink around it, and then
Kind of gross.
yeah, and then she just punches him right in the face. And it's such an underrated line because it's like, I may be dead, but I'm still pretty. That line is good, but then it's like that underrated line that just is that extra burn that only certain people will understand.
You've got fruit punch mouth and then you get punched out. There's no comeback for that.
No.
It's fight to the death. There's no more talk.
How to tell Buffy is a Gen Xer without saying she's a Gen Xer.
That's funny because just the other day on Reddit, I saw a picture of her and Freddie Prinze Jr. Recent photo, and it says the ultimate Gen X couple, aging gracefully. And when we get through Clone Wars, only 6 seasons to go, when we do Rebels, Freddie Prinze Jr. is one of the main character voices, and he's great in it.
Yeah.
And she actually has a guest part in that show. So
yeah,
we will get to that and come full circle yet again.
Because I know that he changed from traditional on-screen acting to voice acting, as well as becoming like making his own cookbook and becoming quite a chef in the kitchen. And
well, I like his voice acting because he does have a distinctive voice. You can tell that's Freddie Prinze Jr. And
yeah, I love Freddie Prinze Jr.
Now.
I am secretly like, this was my celebrity couple when I was growing up. This was them, and I am just so happy because they're still together and they're still just as cute with each other, and they're like our generation of Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. Like it really is that, because they constantly will bash each other slightly, like out of love on Instagram. Blake and Ryan will, and it's hilarious to watch them go back and forth. But it was like, these were like the cute little couple because they're still together all these years later. Oh no.
You know what's cute? We have adjoining stoned He-Man character Twitter accounts. That's couple goals.
It's true. It's true.
All right, Fruit Punch Mouth. We got past that. Xander and Angel fight the vampires. Giles fights the Hellmouth Little Shop of Horrors monster. You know, Giles gives it hell. He's really trying his best.
The demons, like, I understand that this was season 1 budgeting, but they look like Hellmouth dogs. I don't really understand how to explain it. There's just weird round heads with no eyes, and
yeah,
it's not a good one. I still think that they peaked with Moloch.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
the money definitely went on that suit. So Buffy chucks the master through the skylight onto a big wooden slab of a desk or something that got broken as the place got trashed. There's always a stake around if you look hard enough. If you're creative enough, you can find a stake anywhere.
And that's the point. Is they're always showing how they're always showing how creative and resourceful she is. That she's very situationally aware, which is something that a lot of people in this planet right now are very much lacking.
As soon as I saw her eyes flick to that piece of wood, I was like, "You're done, buddy."
Yep.
And he was. They just straight up killed him right then and there.
Yeah, she just WWF'd, since we're in the 90s, it was WWF back then, not the WWE. She just literally just hauled him back and just flipped him over, and there he went.
Yeah, I don't know which wrestling finishing move it was, but it was good. Did the job.
The Undertaker? I don't know.
He did the tombstone.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. Then The Rock did the rock bottom. Steve did the stunner. Stone Cold.
Yeah.
That's 90s stuff. I was the 80s Hulk Hogan and stuff. Hulk Hogan did a leg drop because apparently he couldn't do any other really interesting moves, but the leg drop became iconic somehow. Everyone loved Hulk Hogan in the 80s.
Yeah.
So the vampires are gone. The Hellmouth is closed. Another great quote. "We saved the world. I say we party." It's like, yeah, let's leave the car in the hallway and the skeleton on the library floor and all the structural damage and go to homecoming. Fuck it.
Because, the principal will clean this up. Can you imagine? Let's write the scene of what Snyder's coming in to see. When he comes into the school and just sees the car with Queen C as the license plate. And
oh, yeah.
And there's just a giant hole in the wall. The floor, he's going to be like, he's probably gone for a few days and maybe the earthquake happens, so maybe he'll just attribute it all to the earthquake.
For writing the dream scene for that, he comes in and he's trying to, he's upset, and then there's a cop, a disinterested cop played by Renee Auberjonois, Odo, who's just like, "Oh yeah, that's great," and he's like, "No, listen, you gotta," he's all quirking up, and the cop's just like, "Sure."
He comes in and he's just like, he just comes in the background, and you just see enough of him to see that he's that John Travolta meme in Pulp Fiction where he's like,
then mutters under his breath, "What the fuck, fucking kids, teenagers."
I love Armin Shimmerman.
The episode ends there. They win. That's it.
Her white dress is perfectly unscathed of any stain or rip or tear after dying, drowning in a sewer water, comes out, goes through the sewers. Like, the bottom of her dress isn't even stained.
Oh, she must smell great.
Right? She's like, I got sewer in my hair. Anyways, off to the dance. It's okay. It's not like the guy that I want to date has an extra level sense of smell.
But no breath.
But no breath.
Yeah, or talk. That's what I'm saying. Imagine him trying to blow out his birthday candles on his 190th cake. He's very fucking going at it like Curly. I got no breath, Mo.
Yeah, not a lot of logic. If anything, his oxygen levels would be way higher.
Anyway, I really enjoyed this episode. A lot of hard-hitting, visceral stuff. It got kind of serious there for a while on several occasions, and then we just get a good slap, a good knockdown, drag out fight at the end with a happy ending.
Yeah, this episode didn't mess around.
Yeah, good way to describe it.
Yeah, this was basically like, you want Buffy? Here's Buffy. And it's just,
Had face kicks and crossbows and
besides the spoiler of what happens at the end of season 1, I feel like Prophecy Girl, shout out, is actually a really good introductory episode for someone who hasn't seen the show at all before. Probably even better than Hellmouth and Welcome to the Hellmouth and The Harvest, because they're trying to explain it to us, whereas they do a quick catch up of all the stuff without all of the relationship building that we're also seeing. So it's just a good introductory standalone episode if anybody was like, well, I want to see what Buffy's about. Well, this is what it's about.
it's true. You could really start your journey there if you wanted to. But then you'd miss all the fucking giant praying mantis ladies and stuffed hyenas they got from the Salvation Army.
And I have a confession. I actually did not see season 1 until many years later. I caught it reruns, but I never actually saw it the whole way through until they released it on DVD.
I didn't see it all until today.
I came in. Actually, I will point out the scene. It is in the next episode. The next episode is my first ever Buffy the Vampire Slayer episode I ever watched.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I remember the exact scene. I remember the moment that I turned the television on. It's a very, very cool memory to have.
Anyway, we're through the first season of Buffy, and I really did enjoy it. It's been quite a journey, and I am 100% in for season 2.
I find season 2 has less of the season 1 hokey. It's where it really, like, the budget increases and stuff. Season 2 is probably one of the most popular seasons. So it's going to be good.
I've seen far worse season 1s of things. Like I just got through Next Generation and all that shit. This season 1 was a breeze.
Do you have any predictions for what season 2 will include?
Oh, wow. I haven't even really thought about it. Let's see. Well, probably figure out, we might hear who this Brother Luca character is. That felt like a setup for more Watcher type stuff. I feel like we're going to see more of this Watcher network, the people Giles confers with and relies on. We'll probably see lots more crazy monsters of the week, although hopefully no more stuffed hyenas with glass eyes. I don't know. There are loose ends from this season that could pop up again. You never know. I don't have any real specific predictions, but I want to see what happens next.
Yeah.
Oh, there'll be romantic tension with Angel and Buffy.
Yeah. It's gonna be
for the next 6 seasons.
It's a good season. I'm really looking forward to it. Clone Wars episode 19, Storm over Ryloth.
Ryloth is the homeworld of the Twi'leks, or the Twi'leks, depending on who you are. I say Twi'leks.
Yeah, I have questions about that. So with the quote for this episode, I've decided that I needed a voice to read these in. So I'm going to use the Admiral Cleese voice. It is a rough road that leads to the heights of greatness. The recap includes... I like that the recap doesn't actually include what's happened in previous episodes. It's literally just stuff that's happened off screen just to catch you up.
Yeah, it's just relevant setup to this episode.
You don't usually see that in shows where they're like, here's all this information that you didn't get to witness yourself. Just take our word for it. Here's the highlights reel. That's very Star Wars.
Yeah, Clone Wars is very guilty for joining the adventure already in progress, in Clone Wars anyway.
Yeah, that's a very Star Wars thing to not give us that much of the backstory. And if you don't really listen or pause it to read the subtitles, then you miss it.
Oh yeah, names of characters and shit get missed constantly. You gotta look them up in books or hope you see it in the subtitles.
Yeah. So that leads us to the Separatist leader. What? Tambor!
What? It's a good Viago what?
Or what? With his hat and his glasses, he gives me like intergalactic movie producer vibes. So I'm calling him Tambourine for the sake of these couple of episodes.
What? Tambourine. Got it.
Tambourine. What? The Republic is sending an army to free Ryloth in the system. Whoever could they be sending? Yep. Gloomwalker, also known, I guess, as Anakin Skywalker, and Ahsoka are the advance party for Obi-Wan's ground troops that are going to infiltrate the planet. But first they have to get through the blockade.
Star Wars loves its fucking blockades.
Yep. We open with what? Tambor in his shop.
You can do that every time because that's great.
I don't know if I can. I feel like this is going to take about an hour to get through this recording.
Yeah, it'll derail us a lot.
I'm going to call him Tambourine, but every once in a while I'll sprinkle it in for you.
There you go.
Yeah. He's in his ship orbiting Ryloth, talking to a droid from the planet's surface, whose name we don't even get until the next episode. Just like to point that out. And he's calling him on a holo call, and he's doing his usual cocky, "No one can beat me" lines from that we usually get from the Separatist leaders. We cut over to Admiral Cleese. What is his actual name?
That's Yularen.
Yularen. Okay, because I was like writing the actual name, and I was like, I realize I have no idea what it is.
He shows up in later Star Wars. Like, he was present in Episode 4 in the Death Star when Vader chokes that guy out. He's like got white hair then, and he's played by someone else, but he was also in Andor and all the Imperial end of things. Yeah. So yeah, Wolf Yularen. He's a pretty big Imperial player, and he was in the Clone Wars.
Yeah, he's Cleese. He's John Cleese to me.
With that mustache, yeah.
And this moment where they flash to, they're like, "No one can beat me," and then they flash over to Admiral Cleese approaching, and it felt like a hold my beer kind of moment. It's just like, just wait, here they come. The Republic arrives, and they're sending a squadron that's going to be led by Ahsoka. And fun fact, the droid's name is R7. In walks Gloomwalker and his poor excuse for a motivational speech.
This is Ahsoka's first squadron command, and what killed me is Anakin telling anyone how a squad is dependent on her for their lives after all the fucking plans he's risked his squad, and oh my god.
Yeah, he definitely wasn't low-key trying to psych her out. Like, no pressure, Anakin. More like Anna can't, the way he was given that motivation speech there. He gets really nice at the end where he's like, "I trust you." He wouldn't send her out if he didn't think that she could handle it. But he really could have just left it at that part. And I think that it would have been more positive motivation rather than psyching her out.
I didn't find Anakin supportive at all in any of this episode.
No.
If anything, again, condescending boys club.
Yeah, I did find that if he had just said the second part, then it would have been motivational, but not that everybody's relying on you. Because that's not helpful, Anakin.
Good luck. Don't fuck it up.
Right?
Like,
that's RuPaul. I'm sorry. RuPaul can say that, not Anakin.
we get a few more additions to the clone roster names here. Axe, Slammer,
is he the one? Is Axe leading Group 2?
I'm not sure, but he's definitely he seemed to be a leader of some sort.
Yeah, Axe, Slammer, Kickback, Swoop, Tucker. But I count 10 ships that go out with Ahsoka, so there's 10 of them in total.
Yeah, we didn't get all the names.
Yeah, there's Blue Leader, which might be Axe.
I don't know. It was kind of hard to tell, but it seemed to be, yeah.
Tambourine launches all of his fighters.
These are the Vulture droids you were asking about before. This is what they do. They're transforming starfighter droids.
Those really weirded me out. I called them Cylon droid spiders. They just hop up and just start going.
Yeah, they're in episode 1. Actually,
I've had nightmares about bugs like this.
And their heads move even when they're in ship mode. It's disconcerting.
However, it's good to note that their aim is about as good as the Harry and Marv line. which I decided to look up what their line was actually called tonight, and they are called the B1 droids. So
B1 droid,
henceforth,
yep.
they are called the bingo droids.
Bingo droids.
Martok launches all of his fighters, which is all the Cylon droid spiders. He realizes that Gloomwalker is leading the attack, and he actually knows him. AKA, he knows that there will be some sort of distraction while something sneaks through or there's a surprise attack on the other side. Sure enough, he's predictable because Group 2 is going for the battleship while Group 1 squadron is engaging the fighters and drawing them all away. And now Martok brings in the rest of his band. He brings in the battle cruisers 17, 19, and along with 2 others to swoop in. And Group 2 starts their attack on the battleship. Admiral Cleese basically orders him to fall back because it's a trap, and Ahsoka's like, it's fine, and Admiral Cleese is like, it was not fine.
She straight up disobeys orders.
Yep. Actual Admiral line. Did you train her to not follow orders? Do you not realize who you were speaking to? Because Gloomy is the picture-perfect depiction of following orders. I don't know why he's surprised.
He does whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah. And then they're surprised when his Padawan is doing the exact same thing. All right, cool.
Yeah, I think the military's like, the Jedi are more fucking trouble than they're worth.
Right?
They get more troopers killed.
Yeah, the fighters get outnumbered and and swoop. One of the troopers is shot down, as well as Axe doesn't make it back to the fleet. As they're trying to finally return, because Ahsoka decides to turn around. But the fact that she is late listening to the orders that are given to her means that we find out later they actually lost one of the cruisers with hundreds of men on it, and they also lost pretty much her entire squadron, if not her entire squadron. I'm under the impression it's the whole squadron, but I did see ships make it back, so I was confused about that.
Heavy losses for sure, yeah.
They get back to the ship, and he talks a big game about listening to superiors, and thankfully, kind of like Willow in the last episode, Ahsoka's like, excuse me? And immediately calls out all the hypocrisy. So I was happy to see that.
So glad she did that.
Yeah. And then he goes, oh, it wasn't even your fault anyways. It was a trap. Well, maybe you should open with that next time when you see that your Padawan is already beating herself up. Okay?
Anakin is a terrible teacher. He is a terrible teacher.
Yeah. Yeah. Admiral Cleese gets 5 seconds of good teaching solid teaching in these next 2 episodes. More than I've seen from Gloomy this entire season. We do have a truly touching moment where he tells her that this is what command is about, and it's not just being in charge. It's a hard way to learn about the dark side of leading, but he noticed there's a long look on his face, and I felt like it was the first time we were catching a glimpse of Gloomwalker behind all of the airs and the confidence that he usually wears. He just seemed more genuine and more relatable. And if Gloomy was more humble and like that, I think that I could actually get behind him, but
I wish he was more relatable because, like I said before, I'm at best I've been indifferent to Anakin. I don't know that I've ever really liked his character that much, especially watching all these fucking clones he's getting killed and stuff now. Like, if anything, Clone Wars is making me like Anakin less.
Yeah, it's making me, it's radicalizing me against the Republic, but I don't want to go to the Separatists. So it's like, well, I'm just going to go off in my own little leave me alone. You are both horrible.
Fighting the Empire is so much simpler. You know you're fighting the space Nazis then.
Right? At the cost of so many lives. Anyways, we get over to the Ryloth blockade, and the guy who Star Wars led us to believe is Wat ensures Emir, who is Wat, that the droid, as we come to learn his name finally, Emir Wat Tambor, I guess that's him, the blockade is fine. He's gonna spend some downtime studying about Gloomwalker, which I think is very smart. They wrote this guy very smart, and I actually like that. I don't like when they have just separatists carbon copies of, oh, I can beat anyone, gets beaten. Like, this guy actually gives Anakin a run for his money, and I like that.
Yeah, he does his homework and he's patient. So he's surprised. He's supposed to just be a disposable bad guy of the week or whatever. But I was like, oh, hang on, this guy's actually putting an effort in here.
Yeah, I hope that we see this guy again. I don't know if we will, but I kind of do like his battle strategy, and I like that he's not just a one-dimensional character.
Oh my God, you're gonna love Grand Admiral Thrawn. I have no idea.
We get over to Gloomy updating the Jedi Council, which is Mace Windu and Obi-Wan. They lost a full cruiser, the Redeemer, and a full squadron of fighters. They only have until the next planetary rotation. Why is that?
The plot. I don't know. I can't remember.
Because it was like we have to postpone the invasion if we don't get it before the next planetary rotation. I'm like, why?
Yeah,
Do you
I
guys
don't
not
remember that detail.
do you guys not go through blockades on Sunday? Is this a Jedi thing? Like, what is this?
Beheadings are on Wednesday. Blockades are Thursday.
Gloomwalker then refers to the droid occupation on Ryloth as the Techno Union. So now, my comments about Martok looking like... oh man, my brain is rewriting this into a Lethal Weapon duo. Don't do it. He's looking like a music producer, and it makes so much more sense because they're hosting a techno rave down on the planet, and they just want to use this planet for that. And with Mace Windu talking throughout this scene, he does the exact same thing that Anakin just did to Ahsoka, which is, everybody's counting on you, don't mess this up. And stating facts to increase pressure and not at all be helpful, it seems to be a Jedi trait.
I'll tell you, like I've said, I've been indifferent to Anakin, somewhat on the fence about Kenobi quite a bit of the time. I don't like Mace Windu at all. I like Sam Jackson, but I don't like Mace Windu's character. I think he's a fucking arrogant, aristocratic, fucking out of touch Jedi who just, I don't know, I don't like him.
He's a bureaucrat.
Yeah.
He's just pushing the papers and making the decisions without actually doing anything.
And he cut off Django's head. Book of Boba Fett Season 2, come on. Let's wrap up that loose end.
We go to find Ahsoka because she walked away while Gloomy was talking about her while she wasn't there. And she is sitting at Admiral Cleese's bedside. Cleese is stable but unconscious, or so she thinks. Rex walks in on Ahsoka apologizing for not listening and causing the loss of so many fighters. And it's really a touching moment. And he's just like, all right, you gotta go. Gloomy's looking for you.
That's an important moment because we see that Yularen heard her and Rex hears her, and she's expressing genuine remorse that she made a mistake on the battlefield on her first command, and they see that and they respect that.
Yeah. At first I thought it was just Admiral Cleese was pretending to be asleep so that he could avoid an awkward conversation.
He might have been.
What?
Well, I can't deal with this now.
Oh man, here's the kid.
Honk shoe. This is the most sleep I've gotten since the war started.
If you could just stop talking so I could go back to sleep.
He says one of the episode's startup words of wisdom. Never awaken a sleeping admiral.
Gloomy and R2 are fixing up a ship on the hangar deck, and Ahsoka joins them. And I love the little quick moment of affection that Ahsoka gives R2. She like pats him on the head, she like rubs his head, and she's like just lovingly kind of absentmindedly petting him. It was really cute. I liked it.
This show does little things like that once. They do it in the next episode, and we'll get to that, but I missed that.
Yeah.
But I like that they do stuff like that.
Yeah. Gloomy does a quick mental health assessment, aka, you good? Cool, because you got everybody depending on you. We got to go back and do this. Like, and she's like, are you kidding? And then Gloomy says something that really threw me for a loop. Why is it like a dialect thing? Twi'leks versus Twi'leks? Is it just a personal preference? Like, what is the actual?
I think it's just a personal preference because I've heard it both ways since it started. Since
cool,
the word's been a thing.
Twi'leks it is. But
Twi'lek seems to be the one that gets used less, but it does seem to be about half and half in my experience.
Not only are they going back, but Gloomy doesn't even have a plan yet. He doesn't even have a plot. Nothing. No reference. The Force has to use the Force they have to force their way through the blockade, is generally where we're going with this episode. Ahsoka is sent to her room by Gloomwalker until she cools off. I'm sorry. Compassion? Did that get missed? Did you skip that lesson in the Jedi hand? Oh, it's not in the Jedi handbook. What am I talking about?
They're so fucking arrogant and detached. I fucking hate it. Fuck
this is why Ahsoka is my favorite character right now.
Oh, believe me, it gets better.
Right? She lost a whole squadron like an hour ago. Maybe give her a minute. So Ahsoka is sent to her room, and I'm assuming that there's a reason not yet revealed why Gloomy isn't leading it and why he's getting her to. Turns out later on, yeah, he has a plan, all right. At the blockade, not Tambor, Murtaugh has just finished Gloomy's record and is going on yellow alert just in case, which I thought was smart.
Again, KG leader, this guy.
Yep. Yeah, Murtaugh, it's all the years of experience. He's getting too old for this.
He's 2 days from retirement.
Yeah. The scene back on the Republic fleet. Not the Republic feet. That is an OnlyFans thing. Ooh. The Defender is being evacuated, and Ahsoka's like, what is going on? And then finds out that Gloomy is like, yep, we're gonna evacuate the Defender, and then it's going to go from Defender to Offender, and it's gonna go straight into the blockade.
This is a clusterfuck. Anakin should be court-martialed for doing this. Like, why did they even let him? Like, this is a major military asset.
Find out, and I'll skip to the end of the next episode. He did not clear this with anybody. Obi-Wan's like, shows up and goes, I'm not even going to ask what happened to the rest of the fighters. He never knew that this was Gloomy's plan. He didn't clear this with anyone. He just went ahead and did this.
In the Grand Republic Army, he's a general, right? So he gets to make these insane calls, and guys like Yularen just have to go along with it. But the only people he answers to are the other Jedi. It's insane.
But he didn't even clear it with the other Jedi. Like, Obi-Wan was like, where'd the rest of the cruisers go? And Ahsoka's like, don't ask.
Where's that $20 billion fucking Star Destroyer that we sent down? Oh, you threw it at them. Oh, great. Oh,
yeah, exactly. Gloomy admitted that he puts a lot of people at risk, though.
Like, he's like, yeah, at least admitted
I put them at risk, which is why I'm just going to go do this, and then you're going to take everybody and go take off all the other frigates that show up. So I'm going to take out the blockade, and you get the other 4 ships. Okay, cool. Go team. That's right. And then he just goes, oh, I leave, and leaves Ahsoka with a whole ship and squadron of troopers that have no faith in her because of what happened. Like an hour ago. How short does he expect their memories to be?
He doesn't care because Anakin's the hero. He's the hero of his own fucking story.
He basically is talking over Ahsoka, who's like, sir, like, can we just, should we talk about this? And he's like, everything's fine. I've got a plan. Ahsoka will fill you in. And then leaves. And she's like, Gloomwalker is essentially teaching Ahsoka to lead, like most boomer parents teach their kids how to swim. They wink at them before chucking them into the deep water and trusting that they'll figure it out.
Pools were a lot deeper in the 70s and 80s, I tell you that. Couldn't see the bottom. In-ground fuckers 11 feet deep.
Right? The troopers are waiting for orders, and Ahsoka's like, I'll be on the bridge, bye. And at no point does she actually give a command, but the guy's like, you heard the lady, let's get back to work. And I'm like, but she didn't actually say anything.
Yeah, Rex was bailing her out in that moment a little bit. He knew the stress she was under.
Yeah. Ahsoka reaches the bridge and finds that Gloomy phones in to say, all right, let's go. And she's like, can I just breathe for a second, please?
It's like the ship is a mile long and it takes a bit to get up here. Come on.
Right? So what? And Murtaugh are talking again, and he's assuring Murtaugh that it would be suicide for the Republic if they ever attacked again. And Murtaugh's like, calm down, Riggs. I think they're going to come back. The surprise discovery is that Murtaugh actually admires Gloomwalker, which I thought was an interesting little layer to add on to this guy. So during this entire scene, there is a light that goes on and off by Murtaugh's head. Is he wearing a GoPro? Is he live recording this and filming it to like Technofest? Like, what is that?
I assume that due to because he looks Nemoidian and it looks like he might have cybernetic implants, he might not have actual vision. I think the little thing on the side is his eye and it processes his visually. It's kind of like Geordi's visor from Star Trek, or at least that's how I took it.
We skip back over to the Republic fleet, and Ahsoka has just told them her well thought out, not at all made up on the spot plan. And Rex is like, this is not a very good plan. But Rex and another clone are very apprehensive because they've lost faith in Ahsoka. Who is with Rex? Who is that other clone? Do we know him?
What was he wearing? I don't remember.
He was wearing all white. He wasn't wearing like an actual clone trooper suit. He was wearing like a cloth uniformed suit.
Oh, he's probably just a ship officer.
Okay. Over at the Defender, heading full steam towards the blockade. And they do something that they don't normally do in Star Wars. At least I hadn't seen it before because I couldn't figure out why it looked so out of place. They did a view screen, like Star Trek style view screen. It's usually holo calls because, you know, Yoda definitely did a lot of holo calls when he was popping in for tea with down on the planet in one of the first episodes.
Well, the Separatist technology, and they use this in live action in episode 1 as well. They've got those big liquid wall things. They talked to the Queen in the first movie, but I made a note here that Anakin's got his fucking webcam set to extreme close-up because his whole face is filling that portal. And I was like, whoa, back up a bit.
This is the second time that he reminds me of a boomer where he's like, am I on the camera?
Totally.
You can't see it, folks, but I've got my camera like basically pointing up my nostrils at this point. Gloomy tells them that they'll surrender if they allow safe passage of food and medical supplies to the Twi'leks on Ryloth. Murtaugh has been written as a really smart character, which is why I don't understand any of the moves that he makes from here on out. This isn't true to the character that we've seen so far. He should have been way more suspicious of the fact that Gloomy was like, oh, sure, I'll lay down.
I think he made only one more move, and I think it was the right one. He saw that it was suddenly unwinnable, and he fucking tipped the fuck out the door to live to fight another day. I thought he did the right thing.
Yeah, I just don't get why he was so quick to believe Gloomy. When he's like, we'll surrender, and he's like, oh, cool, I could get a ship and be the envy of the fleet. Like, it just seems like he seems too smart to be led astray by his ego.
I think that during the course of his research on Anakin, and he makes a point of mentioning that this guy takes a lot of risks, and then he saw what he was doing. He's like, this guy is going to throw a fucking ship at me or whatever. I don't know. His spider sense went off, and he's like, I'm out.
Yeah. But this is when he's still, like, agreeing with it. They haven't even actually scanned the ship at this point. He's just willingly like, oh, yeah, let's do that. I don't know. Just the whole thing, it just seemed really weird. Back over at the Republic fleet, they're trying to figure out how to battle all of the remaining ships. So Ahsoka's idea is basically line up the Resolute perpendicular to the remaining frigates to protect a couple of the more sensitive areas like the bridge and the hangar deck. It should be relatively safe, are the exact words she used. She's planning like Gloomy now. That's not good. The bombers move on the ships, and then when they're in close, outflank them and gain the upper hand. Rex and what's-his-face Trooper McGee try to suggest that they need another plan, and Ahsoka's like, "There's no time." Admiral Cleese wanders in from the shadows. Like, could this be any more of a John Cleese moment? Was there like a full-length mirror hanging out back there, and he was just standing behind and watching all of this go down? He just climbs out of the shadows and goes, "Yes, Ahsoka's plan is the best one. So if a man with a head injury walks onto the bridge and backs up a risky plan, that wouldn't make me personally feel better. I don't know about anyone else."
I'd be like, did the doctor release you? Does he know you're off
Sir, are
work?
you lost? Admiral Cleese, he is more. This is the scene where he's more of a leader and a teacher in 5 seconds than Gloomy was this entire season.
Yep.
He never pushed her, he never spoke for her, and he deferred to her when the room was looking to him for an answer. He was like, "Is this gonna work?" Rex was really concerned, and instead of answering for Ahsoka, he looked at her and he goes, "Will it?" And let her prove that she was still in charge and take the lead. He never tried to take that from her.
She needed the win. It was going to be a win or a loss. It was going to be hers. So, but he gave her the chance to have that win.
Yeah. Over on the ship, they finally scan and they see that it's damaged and that he's the only one on board. And Gloomy's like, "Oh wait, well, you can still have the ship. Sorry, we couldn't deal." And then he leaves the brick on the gas pedal. And he basically stands there to watch the ship approach the blockade. And I'm like, "Are you cutting it a little close, my dude? Like, get out of there." Murtaugh goes to the droids and he's like, "You guys stay put. I'll be right back."
So I'm saying he only saw one move to make, and he made it.
Yeah. The Republic locks onto the pod and is thinking to everybody that they'll retreat, that the Separatists won't fight back. And Ahsoka's like, "No, I know the processing time of a bingo droid. Give them like 5 minutes, and then they'll shoot us." Because it cuts over to the definition of eternity, where all the droids are like, "I'm not in charge. Are you? Are you? Are you?" I'm like, this scene, it's like 60 seconds longer than it needs to be. The yellow droid, which I will call Harry for now, takes control of the blockade and commands them to attack. The blockade's fighters are destroyed. The plan is working. And the techno DJ, Wat Tambor, down on Ryloth, is calling about the situation, and he finds that the captain has abandoned the ship and the bingo droids are running the show. So he's like, "Well, we lost that. Let's get ready for the ground troops."
Yeah. Space battle's done.
Obi-Wan and 3 cruisers show up and they're like, "So, where's the rest of the stuff?" And Ahsoka's like, "Don't ask." And then she finally gets around to, "Oh, by the way, we should go rescue Gloomy." Then she kind of forgets to go do that.
Yeah, it was sort of a critical part of the plan when they were making it. That, oh, we're going to have to rescue you. Oh, yeah, your escape pod's good. Let you float out there and watch what you've done. I hope they sent him a bill for that ship.
Oh my gosh, like he's basically not getting a paycheck anymore. He's spending his time working that off.
We did get cool space action in this one. We did get some cool lasers everywhere and ships everywhere. That's always good Star Wars.
Yeah, good, solid Star Wars fighting, for sure. That episode was a lot more jam-packed than the next episode, thankfully. My notes for this one are a lot shorter.
Well, let's head right on to the next one.
Perfect. So we head right into episode 20, Innocence of Ryloth. The cost of war can never be truly accounted for. I don't know if that was supposed to rhyme, but there it is. Obi-Wan and the ground troops are heading to Nabat, which is the main city of Ryloth. But first they've got to take out the proton cannon that is in this little village.
When they were describing the weapon that they had to take out, I had to go back to double check it because they said we're using living shields. We're using Twi'lex's living shields. At first, I thought they said human shields, and I was going to go back and check that, and I was going to call them on it, but they said living, not human. I was like, oh, well, all right then.
Yeah. I didn't understand why it was necessary for Obi-Wan to make the comment, "Time to meet the natives."
See, again, out of touch, aristocratic fucking nobility, these Jedi.
Like, very Christopher Columbus of you, Obi-Wan. Jeez.
Well, some of the clones refer to the Twi'leks as head tails.
Oh
They're
yeah,
tailheads.
I have comments about that one. We have Wat Tambor, hollow calling into a droid that looks like the monkey. He looks like a monkey droid,
Yeah,
and
he
he's
does.
really monotone. So I call him the MMD, the monotone monkey droid.
I hate these droids. I
Yeah.
hate them.
Although I really do enjoy him for just a second at the end of this episode. You probably already know it. They have a proton cannon on the surface. They have the human shields. See, I even wrote human. That's hilarious. The scene is there's gunships heading to this village. Obi-Wan is reminding them not to wreck the place and try to preserve the homes, so they can only use droid poppers is one of the things that they said they can use.
Which I assume to be like ion grenades or something, non shrapnelly explodey grenades, just to take out clankers.
Yeah, we actually see them in action a little bit later, and I was like, yeah, droid poppers, that makes sense. Very aptly named. Serious racist moment from one of the troopers, Boyle, who we come to know as Boyle.
Boyle's a hard case.
Yeah, wasn't a fan of him at first. Are Twi'leks just not generally highly respected in the Star Wars universe? I get the feeling that they're looked down upon.
Well, they are particularly in this time period, and more so in the Rise of the Empire. They're near human race. It's like Wookiees. They're not human, so they become easy to discriminate against. And the Twi'lek females were sought after a lot, but they were just a very subjugated race. They remind me. I've been watching Deep Space Nine a lot. They remind me of the Bajorans. You know, they just get fucking fucked over hard, but they're very interesting people, and you find them everywhere in the galaxy. I'm a big fan. One of my daughters is Twi'lek.
Yeah, I really like the Twi'lek characters. I find them really interesting every time they come up on screen.
Oh, you're gonna love Hera from Rebels. I can't wait till you get to that show.
We see that the cruisers and the gunships are coming in, and the MMD is like, fire the proton cannon.
Doesn't his voice just drive you nuts?
A little bit, yeah. The clouds, the little clouds that pop up around the cruisers, what are they shooting? Because it kind of looks like World War II footage of air combat. The way that there's like the dark smoke puffs in the sky. Like, I was like, what are they shooting?
Very anti-aircraft weapon look with that, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, you guys got your Spitfires spinning up to go in the air? What is this? They lose one of the cruisers almost right away. So whatever this proton World War II combat cannon is, it's working. Kenobi is like, I'm on it when it comes to taking out the cannon. So a few of the gunships land and they head to the city center, and the droids start firing at them through the trees. So they're all holding up at the tree line except for Waxer and Boyle, who I'm assuming are the ones that head with Kenobi to take out the bunker.
They were part of this ghost company, and they I kind of got a little confused, but they got separated from the rest of the team.
Well, this was before that they sent out the scouting party.
Right.
This was just when Kenobi was going to take out the bunker. So they throw droid poppers into the bunkers, and they can't reach them. So Kenobi helps them do a force throw and takes them all out. This is what I find out they're called Ghost Company.
Cool name.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. Kenobi doesn't want to breach the perimeter immediately, which I thought was smart, so he sends in 4 troopers to scout ahead. There's Boiler and... I call them Boiler because I kept going Boyle and Waxer, so I just called them Boiler whenever I referred to them as the pairing. Wooly and... Is it Cody that's with him?
Cody is to Kenobi what Rex is to Anakin. He's like his main commanding clone officer.
Yeah, so is Cody with Wooly?
I think so.
Okay.
Cody is attached. Where Kenobi goes, Cody is usually not far behind.
Yeah, so they're going to the courtyard, whereas Boiler is going to head out the south sector. Hollow call to Mace Windu, and Kenobi is being heard by droid scouts that were sent out from the MMD going, they will be trying to infiltrate. So they send out some droid scouts. The MMD knows of Kenobi. I thought that was an interesting... I guess that I kind of don't think about that some of the Jedis, especially like the generals that they see a lot, would be actually built into the droid's programming.
After a while, they'd be like, yeah, they'd have profiles on them because Jedi are very rare still, and it's like they know
Mm.
all their information about Grievous. They have to know about Kenobi or Anakin. Like they're very alpha dangerous targets, right?
Yeah. Boiler is walking around at the south sector, and they find this adorable little young Twi'lek girl.
Prepare to lose your hearts, everybody. This broke
Right?
us. Numa.
Yeah, Numa. And Boiler, like, Boyle obviously tries to go hard first because he's the
He's
one
hard
that
boiled.
needs a, yeah, he needs a karmic release. So she bites him. So there's the karma. And Waxer takes a softer approach, and Boyle gives her food, and she keeps calling them Nara. And Boyle calls her little monster and is like, leave her, like, let's go. And I'm like,
Little biter. Yeah.
you're the clone trooper who's about as popular as the stormtrooper that punched Grogu in that episode. Like,
Yeah.
you're quickly not becoming my favorite person, dude.
Fans are turning on you, Boyle.
Yeah. The girl seems really hesitant to leave, but she eventually follows because she knows what's out there. We'll find out too. Over at the courtyard, the MMD walks downstairs if the creatures are ready, and it turns out that they're like these dino bugs. They look like they should have beetle shells, but they've got T-Rex legs.
They look like big ticks or something. They're fucking gross.
Their heads, their heads look like the demons that we just saw in Buffy. I was wondering why they looked so familiar.
That the MMD droid, as you call him, the intelligence droid, he says that Kenobi is known for his deceptive measures, and we've been watching Kenobi lie about shit for like 40 years. We're like, we know.
Thanks, tips. And Marv goes, hey, so these guys don't eat us, right? And MMD's like, won't know for sure till we find out, and then opens up the cage just to see if the creatures will eat the droid.
I thought that whole scene was stupid. They were like, oh yeah, as per my research, they need to eat meat. And I'm like, well, did you think it was going to eat a fucking robot? Like,
These aren't the creatures from Stray. Like, it's okay. They will not eat metal. Boiler is patrolling the south sector, and they weren't aware of their little tag along at first, but they do realize that she's caught up to them.
Twi'leks are very talented scouts and stealth specialists, for
Yeah.
sure.
And Waxer's like, well, what are we going to do with her? Boyle's like, we're not taking her with us. She catches up to them, and then she leads them off towards what I thought was the courtyard, but it turns out that it was her home. And that's the point where everybody's heart melts because
Oh,
she finds her little stuffy, and she hugs them, and I was just, this whole scene.
I was super high when I was watching that, and I started crying. I was like, this poor kid.
So right?
It kills me. I knew it was coming too. I remembered Numa from the first watch through, and this is why Clan Flynn is so big, because I've taken in every goddamn foundling I've come across. I was on Waxer's side. I was like, take her with you, save her.
So all in all, I am on board for the spin-off with two dads and a Twi'lek.
I would have watched that show for sure.
Right? Yeah. Kenobi, back over with Kenobi and the crew. They're waiting at the rendezvous point, and they're like, where are these two at right now? So they send out like a high energy transmission. Maybe it's just like a higher, like goes out farther so it'll reach them if they're farther away than where they should be. The scout droid is live streaming this to HQ, and the MMD's like, release the beast. Which I initially heard as the bees, and I was like, not the
Release
bees!
the bees. Oh, you don't want to mess with those Rylothian bees, man.
Not the bees, no! Nicolas Cage somewhere screaming in the background. Boiler receives the message, and they're trying to make up an excuse. Like, I'm pretty sure if you take Numa with you, it'll be fine. Maybe calm yourself.
It's not like they went AWOL to go to the strippers. Like, they're in a combat situation. They're worried about let's get our story straight about where we've been.
Yeah.
In combat.
We were rescuing a little girl. Like, maybe calm yourself.
Like, we're here to liberate the planet. We saved one of the inhabitants, you know? Like, I don't think they're worrying too much about it.
They're leaving the home, and the little girl, Numa, goes, Gutker. And I'm like, that either means GTFO or that's the name of the beast.
A little bit of both.
Right? The dino bugs chase them back into the girl's home. And he opens up the door. One of them opens up the door and blasts him in the face. And I just thought that was a cute little touch. I really liked that, where he just opens up the door, catches him right in the eye, and then like the dino bug is left scratching his face, being like, yeah.
He's like, creak, fuck off, click.
Numa remembers that there's an escape hatch in their living room, which later, when you see them come up out of the street, it makes you think that this is a sewer system. And then I'm like, was this hole in their floor an escape hatch, or was this their toilet?
Good question. I did a quick Ryloth refresher on the Wikipedia, and it's like a very it's a very hot and humid planet, so the Twi'leks live in like caves, like underground, subterranean type stuff. I don't know, like, I haven't really seen a lot about the Twi'lek homeworld as far as like if they have like cities or anything, or if they're like, because they're when they're out in the galaxy, they're as proficient as anybody else with technology and space flight and stuff. So the idea that they live in primitive caves seems weird to me, but you never know. I mean, Wookiees live in trees, and they're fucking great spaceship mechanics, so there you go.
Yep. Back over to the ghost company. The rest of the dino bugs are heading off to snack on some troopers. The monotone monkey droid is telling that everything is going according to plan. There's an explosion in the background, and literally Watt is like, what is that? And the MMD actually says, I am a droid, I am always right.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Oh.
Have you met General Grievous?
Yeah,
droids are always wrong.
Right? Wake and bake. The scene over with Ghost Company is that the dino bugs take out at least one trooper that I see. And Obi-Wan uses the Force to direct their attention away from the troopers and lead them down this tunnel where there's like a bridge behind them. The troopers shoot the bridge down, and it kind of caves in the tunnel so that Obi-Wan can literally just hop out. And then I'm like, well, have you seen the leg muscles on these dino bugs? What makes you think for a second that they can't just bounce out of the exact same area that you just did a little flip out of?
Yeah, it was awfully convenient. Although it's the first time I can recall seeing Kenobi use the Force to on animals in any way.
Oh. Behind them, the sewer cover opens and out Boiler pops along with their new child. Obi-Wan immediately starts speaking to the girl in her natural language. And she's like, yeah, by the way, I can lead you guys to the prisoners.
Yeah, she's a resourceful kid.
Yeah. We cut to a droid mocking out the animal stalls, complaining about how it's the worst job in the world.
Yeah,
and then Obi-Wan...
This is the worst job in the droid army.
And then Obi-Wan and Noma... I was getting frustrated because we didn't know the girl's name at this point. We didn't know it until the end of the episode. So I was like, can we get this girl a name, please? We sneak in through the back of the tunnels, which seems weird that the Mr. I thought of everything didn't have a single guard on the tunnels. Obi-Wan forces the cell closed, doesn't even bother to deal with the droid. Kenobi and the Ghost Company sneak up to the courtyard and leave the girl behind, so she's sitting at the bottom of the stairs when the shoosting begins with the distraction party at the front and Kenobi in the back. The troopers are getting shot at while the Jedi just calmly whisks in, starts saving the day and freeing the prisoners and being the big hero with no sense of urgency. I thought it was really weird how calm he was doing that. Like, maybe speed it up a little bit. You got a lot of handcuffs to break apart. The MMD calmly maneuvers his swoop bike gun shippy thing to where the prisoners are. And the prisoners are running down the stairs, and then one of them recognizes Noma.
Thank fucking God one of her parents was there, because the expectant look on her face, if no one had shown up, I don't think I would have survived it again.
No, that was, oh my gosh. I was so happy that one of her family was there and still alive. Kenobi climbs into the bomber walker thing and starts to lay waste to the enemy forces.
Yeah, it's like a walking tank.
Yeah, but this whole thing, like the whole ammo mechanism, seems really clunky and slow.
They've used that in a lot in Star Wars. It's been on in live action movies too, where there'll be big cannons. I think they got turbo lasers, but there are ones they show that eject these gigantic fucking shells. It's very old school.
Mm. The MMD shows up and blows up that bomber walker thing, which knocks over Obi-Wan as well as Boiler. And Noma just runs out without even any regard for herself and goes to check on them. And the Twi'lek prisoners, this seems to embolden them and to be like, we want to stand up, we want to help. And they run over to the MMD. The MMD's maniacal laughter. If you heard me laughing out loud here while I was watching these shows, this is why.
I did hear you.
I played this on repeat a few times. I could not stop laughing at how monotone his laughter was, and that the caption actually said maniacal laughter. Does not compute, as he screams, as the prisoners come up and start fighting back. Like, he never once factored in that they would back up the Jedi or the Republic at all. He never once thought, he thought they would just run, which is another underestimation of a very, very capable species.
This is a shitty tactical droid. He didn't know anything.
No, I know everything. I'm always right. Yeah, except when you don't think about these as people.
So as the Twi'leks are tearing apart the intelligence droid Kenobi, he's like, "Oh, this is violent." He covers Numa's eyes, but she ducks out anyway. That's one of those little things that's cute. Oh, another one that was earlier. Cody hands Kenobi his lightsaber after he's dealt with the monsters, and that's another little thing because in episode 3, just before Order 66, Kenobi gets handed his lightsaber back from Cody again. So it's like a thing. Kenobi keeps losing his lightsaber, and Cody keeps giving it back to him.
Literally, just put those things on like those extenda arms. Like, you know, those people who have like the security tags. It's those zip line cords. Just have that.
Put one on a string, man. They first start fucking swinging a lightsaber on a rope around. No one's gonna fuck with you.
Well, the thing is that Obi-Wan has the ability to just look at it and like pull it back to his hand. He has a mental built-in zip line to this lightsaber, and he still keeps losing it. Their next plan now is to take out the capital and actually free the planet. So this is where we're going to get to see what in action. So I'm going to have to use a lot of water for next episode. We close out, and they ask Obi-Wan. Boiler asks Nobi-Wan. Penciling that in for later. What she kept calling them, and it was Nera. And Nera means brother in the Twi'lek language, which I thought was cute.
Yeah, Numa's she's a fan favorite for sure.
Do we get to see more of her?
I don't remember.
Oh, I hope so. She's very cute.
It would be kind of cool if she was grown up in a different show.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be the first time they brought over an animated character.
That is the where we end off with Nobi-Wan Kenobi and Gloomwalker. I liked these episodes. They had a good pacing to them. I did find that the first one was a lot more detail heavy than the second one. The second one was a little bit more slower paced, which was nice.
The second one was all heart.
Yeah, I really liked it. I liked that Noma actually changed Numa actually changed Boyle a little bit.
Yeah, he wasn't so tough.
He had his preconceived notions about what the Twi'lek people would be like, but he was quickly proven wrong because she was very smart. I mean, if she was living out here all by herself with those creatures roaming around, which something tells me that those creatures are in the wild.
Yeah, she knew what they were. There's a fan comic going around of when Waxer and Boyle find Numa, and it's basically they make fun of Monsters Inc. They're like, "Put that thing back where you got it from, or so help me," kind of thing. It's like, "Don't give it a name. What are you doing?"
It's very much that. It is very much that for sure. I love Monsters Inc.
I think I have it in my Facebook memory somewhere. I posted that, and I'm like, again, this is why Clan Flynn's so big because I kept adopting everybody.
Yeah, all the foundlings.
Numa had her dad, so that was good. It's like, please let her fucking parents be there, for God's sakes. She cries again. I won't be able to stand it.
Oh, and I like that they're like, we're gonna come back. Like Boiler's gonna come back and see her. She's gonna see her two space dads.
Well, we'll have to keep watching. Yeah, forget Grogu. Numa was where the heart was.
Right? Let's have
us.
more Numa.
All right. Any last thoughts?
No, I like this episode a lot better than the last one because there was no Anakin. Definitely no Condesandikin.
Thanks for joining us, folks. We're done the first season of Buffy, so for next time, we'll do the final 2 Season 1 Clone Wars episodes. So until next time, this is Vinzer Flynn, signing off.